Hello and welcome to the SEGA Nerdcast, episode 53. I am Chris, the editor of SEGA Nerds, and with me this week are my buddies Graham and Kopke. How's it going, guys?
Hey!
Yes, it's going really fine. Hi, everyone.
It's good to have you guys on the show this week. It's kind of weird that it's just us three this week because I think for the past few weeks, man, we've had a lot of people on the show, a lot of different guests. We're kind of dialing it back a little bit this week. It's just going to be us three talking about SEGA. We got a couple new little segments on the show this week that I hope everyone will enjoy. We got a lot of talk about. There was some big SEGA news this week. If no one heard, there's a new character in the Sonic Boom cast, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on. A lot of exciting stuff. This is going to be a really great show. We also have a feature discussion that's going to be focused on the OUYA and why right now is the best time to own an OUYA. I'm going to make that case, and I'm sure Graham's going to do everything in his power to make it seem like you should not get an OUYA. But I am absolutely pro OUYA right now.
It may surprise you. It may surprise you, Chris.
Uh-oh. We'll see.
Let's see what happens.
But before we get started on the show, like we always do, let's go around the room, see what we've been up to. And we will start with our buddy down inside Mexico, Kopke. What have you been up to?
Hi, everyone. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Chris, because you sent me a really amazing gift. You gave me a Saturn. Man, you ended like, for those who are listening to the show, Chris sent me a Saturn as a gift. I received it in the mail, and I was really amazed because, you know, you ended with 18 years of frustration of not being able. Those people who don't know, in Mexico, it was really way too this console here. Like, in the time, like 1984, 86, this console was really expensive, man. It has almost the price of a PlayStation 4 these days. And man, you have no idea how frustrating it was to get one. And actually, I was very lucky because my father used to travel a lot and got me a lot of Genesis games and the Sega Genesis as a gift on Christmas. And actually, Master System was really cheap and really easy to get here. But the Saturn, man, was way too hard. Like, only black market was selling it, and it was really expensive. Getting games was even harder. The only way to actually get good games was getting into the United States and importing them. And also was really hard to find them once you get into the United States. So it was like almost impossible to get one. And the thing is that I was so frustrated because I wanted to support Sega on the day, and actually my parents were a little bit angry because I was like really addicted to the games that I was already playing on Sega Genesis. So my mother was like worried that I get addicted to another Sega console and not studying or doing my things properly. So it stuff on like, okay, if my father got to a trip, he never got me the Saturn because he knew that my mother was going to be like playing games instead of studying or doing my homework and stuff. So it was like two things, like my parents not wanting me to get one, and actually the console itself being too expensive here. So man, I was so frustrated that I never got one. And actually, when I went to the States, Toys R Us was always out of stock on SEGA Saturn, so I was really frustrated for that. My father knew that, and it was one of the reasons that he got me to the road trip to actually get the Dreamcast, because he knew that I was like felt really guilty that I was never able to actually buy a Saturn and to actually buy those games. And it was like a huge stigma on myself that I was never able to get one. And man, I just opened the box, and there it was. And man, you just flush away like 18 years of frustration of not getting one. And I was so happy to actually being able to get one. And now the new mission is going to get the games, which I know it's gonna be hard. That I will try to get as many as I can, because I know they're expensive these days, but I will. And man, I was so happy to actually know that the possibility to play Magic Knight Rayard on this console is open. I know it's an expensive game, but I know the possibility to actually being able to do that is like whoa, just blew my mind, and I am really thankful to you, Chris. Like, this is really amazing. It's like the Chris Mass of '96
Wow.
I never had. It's
I
amazing.
think you got a friend for life there, Chris.
You know what? I was just
really
happy to be able to give you something that would make you happy like that, Kopke. I know you've been wanting a Saturn for a long time now, and I've actually been hunting around for one for you, trying to find one here locally as much, as often as I could. I just couldn't find one. I found the one a few weeks ago that I showed you guys. It was the Model 2 Saturn that came out. I found that one, but the only thing about that one, it didn't come with any of the cables. I was able to get it relatively cheap, but it didn't come with any of the cables, so I didn't want to send you that, just a cable-less Saturn. So I ended up buying that one. I was like, all right, I'll just throw that one on my shelf, and you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go to eBay and find a Saturn for you. And that's what I ended up doing. And I actually got it for a decent price. I think it ended up being about $60 or something like that.
Cool.
So,
Man, I'm really thankful to this. You really knocked it out of the park, man. This is really amazing. And it actually is a Model 1 Saturn, so I was like, wow, I'm never going to mess with this hardware anyway, because sometimes I mess with some hardware that I find, because I think I still have 2 master systems. If anyone is missing one master system, once that I find it, I can send it to you. But I mess with that hardware. I actually open the console, see what it is, and see what I can mess with. But for Model 1s, I never mess with it. I mean, my Sega Genesis Model 1 is intact. My Dreamcast Model 1 is intact. And the Saturn, this one, I will never mess with it. I mean, it is so rare to actually have one here, so I will treasure this forever. I mean, this is way too much. And I have no emoticon or words to express like how happy I am with this.
just send me naked pictures of women every so often, and that's all I'll need.
Okay, you will get them regularly. I don't have any problem with that.
Women, I bet you could do that pretty well too. So.
Yeah. I actually do that openly in my timeline, so I don't mind.
Perfect. Before we move on, I'm hearing a lot of feedback still. Does anyone else hear that?
No.
Yeah,
No.
sure.
Are you hearing any feedback, Kopke?
No, I don't have any feedback on the sound. No, I don't.
Yeah, I keep hearing the sound. I just hope it's not coming through the show. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
I can't hear anything.
No,
Can you
I don't hear
mute your mic
No, I
for a
don't
minute,
hear
Kopke, and see if it'll stop?
Okay.
All right, here, we'll just stop for a second.
Was it me? No, I don't think so.
Welcome to the Silent Nerdcast.
Yeah, like kind of the West when you watch like those desert circles that have
The
how do you
tumbleweed.
call them? Yeah, tumbleweed. Thank you. That exactly that. Like shh.
I still hear it. It's still coming through.
I think it's your end, man. Yeah. I had my mic muted the whole time when Kopke was talking. So. Oh well.
Yeah, and mine
Is
is
it
not
really bad, Chris?
feedback from the. I actually have the earphones, so.
Okay, it was me.
Damn.
Somehow I didn't realize I had a window open that I didn't realize I had open, and it was actually just playing the show. So, all right, a great show, man. This is such a professionally done show.
I love it.
We'll cut this in the audio podcast. Make
No,
sure we do
keep
that.
it in. Make it up.
That'll be great. So, I've had a pretty crazy busy week. So I forgot to tell you guys on last week's show. So Target, it's a department store here. I don't know if you guys have Targets in England or Mexico.
We do not.
No, we do not. But I know the store.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually,
right. So it's like a it's like a Walmart or a department store, but it's considered a little bit higher class or like a little bit nicer, higher quality, I should say, than a Walmart or a Kmart. And so
it has
one of
better
the
deals.
one of the neat things that they did, I found out on Cheap Ass Gamer, that they were accepting trade-ins on video games. This is about a week or 2 weeks ago, and the promotion that they had going on is that in addition to whatever the base price on the game was going to be that you trade in, they were going to triple that price. So say if they would give you $10 on a video game, say Halo Wars, for instance, I have that sitting right here. Say they gave you $10 for Halo Wars, you'd get $30 for it because they multiply by 3. And there was just a ton of really good prices on there. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to take a bunch of these old games, not necessarily old, but like PlayStation 4, Vita, and 3DS games that I've had. I don't really play that much anymore. I don't have that much sentimental value or emotional connection to. And I'm just going to take them all and trade them in and see how much I get. And so I did that, and I traded in, what was it? I traded in Infamous Second Son on PS4, Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, and a bunch of Vita stuff. I didn't trade in too many Sega stuff. I don't think I did end up trading Bayonetta in on PS3.
No,
I know that was kind of bummed about that. But I got I wanted to say I got about $15 for it. So I figured I could get more for these games than it's going to cost me to find them later down the road. And I can't even play Bayonetta right now anyway. I don't have a PS3. So I ended up taking about 12 games, and I got $250 worth of credit in, which is quite a lot when you're considering these games. And for like Infamous and Ground Zeroes and a couple other games on my Vita, I pretty much got back what I paid for them. I was getting like $30, $40 on some of the Vita games. I got $30 for Ground Zeroes. I got almost $55, I think, for Infamous. And so I ended up taking that credit, and I waited about a week or two. And a few days ago on Friday, I took all those little in-store credit cards, and I went and bought this. It is a Mario Kart 8 Wii U bundle. I still ended up having to pay about $100 out of pocket after tax and everything.
Whoa.
But I have to say, I am really, really impressed with the Wii U. I had my own reservations. You know, I've heard so much bad things about the Wii U. But I have to say, going through it and playing it, I don't understand why it's getting so much backlash from fans. Like, why people are so upset about it. I understand the lack of third-party stuff. I get that, the lack of games, but there's a ton of great Nintendo games on this thing. And one of the things that just going through in the initial setup, going through the user interface and everything, the look and feel of the UI on the Wii U is great. It's fantastic. I have to say, like, just the way it looks, everything, I have to say, I like it better than the UI on the PS4 or the Xbox One. I think it's the best user interface of any of the next generation consoles. Now, I wish that it was a little faster, like switching through menus and apps and things like that. Same thing with the 3DS. It's a little slow, especially when you compare the Wii U to like the PS4, which is like very, very fast. You can like load up Netflix and go out of Netflix, load up a game in a matter of just a few seconds. With the Wii U, it takes a little bit longer, and it may not have been that big of a deal if I hadn't played a PS4 before, but it's just very noticeable now. So it's a little sluggish, like moving through apps and everything like that. But aside from that, the gamepad, that is a really nice controller / like tablet. It just feels really good in your hands. The build, the quality there, it's like top notch. It's what you would expect from something like Nintendo would make. It's really, really, really good. And the off TV gameplay on your tablet or the gamepad I think it's really understated, and people don't make a big enough deal for that, from what it can do. Because for me, we spend a lot of time in our living room and stuff, the wife and the kids and stuff. We're always down there, after dinner, we're watching a TV show or something like that. And it's great being able to, like, say, play like Mario Kart or Sonic Lost World. I can play it on the gamepad while my wife watches a TV show. And it, doesn't interrupt me being able to play a game that I'm playing, and she can watch her show. We can do all that, and it's really great. And so I know some people have said there's not a very long, range that you can go. You can take the tablet to or the gamepad around your house, but for me it's not that big of a deal. I'm usually on the couch right there anyway. another thing that I had to was impressed by playing Mario Kart 8. I also Blake came over yesterday. He loaned me Sonic Lost World and a couple other games. But playing through those games, I think the graphics on the Wii U are amazing. I think they're really, really good. I don't know if you guys have gone and put very much time into a Wii U before, but I've seen videos. I've seen some of the displays and stuff at stores, but this is the first time I really got to sit down and play a Wii U for a couple hours. And I think I don't see that big of a difference visually from like a Wii U to the PS4. I know it's not like pushing out all these polygons. It's not like pushing out like particle effects and all these other crazy stuff. Like the draw distances aren't there. But look at what Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD or Mario Kart 8 looks like, and then compare that to something else that you'd see on the PlayStation 4. I don't think it's as big of a gap as people make it out to be, especially when they start when they act like the Wii U is last gen. It's not a next generation console. I think it looks way better than anything I've seen on an Xbox 360 or PS3. I'd certainly consider.
Dude.
Graham, go and play Mario Kart 8, and it looks fantastic. I think Mario Kart 8 visually looks a lot better on the Wii U than Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transforms looks on the Xbox 360 or PS3.
Whoa.
I think it does.
Big words.
Well, big words, because I think it actually compares to the PC version. And actually, I like the PC version better. But I will give you that Mario Kart 8 looks really pretty. And what I've got to say about the Wii U is that it's really a nice console that has been underrated, because it actually is a good console. It actually is great. And it's just, for me, in particular, is that it's just that Nintendo is never my thing. It's that,
right.
Their kind of games, their kind of stuff, it's not my type of stuff. It has never been, and I don't think it will ever be. But that's me. That's just my personal taste. But at the thing, talking about the console itself, it's really good console. And I actually agree with Chris that the interface is really good. It's really intuitive. It's really intuitive. Sorry. It actually has really nice graphics. It actually has really nice sounds. It actually has a lot of innovation gameplay that the other consoles don't have. I mean, looking at Xbox One and PS4, they are not innovating anything. They're just adding more hardware to the stuff and just improving a few things on their interface, and that's it. But Nintendo is actually taking the gameplay to the next step, and that's a really good thing about the Wii U. I think it's the points to them, and I think they have been really, the press has really been hard over them, because the press works in a different way. Like they had to get the sponsorship from the companies, and actually companies pay them a lot of money to actually advertise their games. So most of this negative conduct comes because Sony is investing more in that, and Xbox is investing more in that than Nintendo is. And Nintendo has this big stigma of being kiddie, like games
right.
for kids. But that isn't the case. I mean, Nintendo is really pushing it to the next level in what they can do and how to take it to another place that the other guys are not doing it, and they're actually accomplishing it with the Wii U. I'll give them props for that, and they're actually made such a good console on the Wii U. But the thing for me, at least, is that Nintendo is not making the kind of games that I'd like to see in a game. So that's why I wouldn't buy a Wii U. I think that Sonic Lost World is the closest thing that Nintendo will get for me to be interested in a game.
What about Bayonetta 2?
Maybe that will, but the thing is that there are two games, and I wouldn't buy a Wii U just because of two games.
Right.
And that is a big problem here. But that's me. I mean, I'm just one person that Nintendo is not concerned about. So they are concerned more about the more bigger audience. And I think the strategies and the games they're pushing right now are really getting into more people, because Mario Kart is a big title. And Smash Brothers is also a huge title that people will be able to get and convince them to actually be trying out and giving the opportunity to the Wii U, that they should, because it's a good console. And it actually has a lot of better things that the other ones are not doing right now.
I think a lot of people are underestimating.
I think it has been.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of people are underestimating the importance and the popularity of of Mario Kart 8 in the general and casual gaming audiences. Because I say that because over the past few days, I've seen so many people on my Facebook timeline talking about Mario Kart 8. People that never talk about video games. All of a sudden, they're showing, like, they're taking pictures of them picking up Mario Kart 8, or taking pictures of them, like, at their house playing it with their families. This game, you know, if you go back and look at Mario Kart, what it did on the Wii, it sold tons and tons and tons. Now, I understand the amount of the difference between the amount of Wiis out there and the amount of Wii U's are drastically different, so it's not going to get anywhere near the amount of sales. But I do think Mario Kart 8 is going to push systems for Nintendo, and is going to be a very successful game, and probably will end up being the most successful game up to this point on the Wii U. I could easily see that. I think it's definitely the most popular and most anticipated game up to this point on on the Wii U. With and Super Smash Bros. Brawl is going to be coming up possibly at the end of the year or next year. So that's going to be another huge game for Nintendo. Now, the only thing that it's really disappointing, and everyone kind of knows this, though, it's just I hate the fact that they're still using the Wiimotes. That's the one thing I'm just like, come on, Nintendo, why still do this? And the only thing I can think is just that it's a cost-saving measure for them. They have this technology that they already created. They probably have tons of these Wiimotes sitting in their factories, and they're saying, fuck it, let's just add this as a secondary controller. Now, I do want to get some of the what is it, the actual traditional controllers, oh shit, I forgot the names of them.
The Wiimotes?
No, it's like the Wii Controller Plus or something like that, like the actual. It's like a physical controller. No. It's like an Xbox looking.
The Controller Pro.
Yeah, the Wii U Pro controller.
Right.
Those are good because now apparently they're wireless. Like, you don't have to plug them into a Wiimote like you did on the old Wii. You can actually just sync it and play it that way, which is great. I'm going to do that because I don't want to play my games on Wiimotes. But other than that, the only problem I did have, this is another issue I came up to, along with this Mario Kart 8 bundle. One of the cool things is that Nintendo's currently doing a promotion where you can get, if you register Mario Kart 8 on Club Nintendo, then you can get 4 games, and it's like the Super Mario Brothers game, I think Pikmin, you can get Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, and then another game I can't remember offhand. But one of the things is, so I opened it up, set up my Wii U, and I open up the case, and I'm like, all right, because usually there's an insert in with a little code that you go on to Club Nintendo and register your game. And so I assumed that there was going to be that, and I open up Mario Kart 8, there's nothing in there. And I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. So I go through and finish setting up the Wii U, and I start like Googling. I'm trying to understand, like, okay, where do I go to get my game? I wanted to get the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And I start searching through. I go to Club Nintendo, and it's not showing up that I've registered Mario Kart 8, and I can't find anywhere where to go. And eventually, I go and find out that you have to go and apparently, once you sync your Nintendo Network ID in with your Mario or with your Wii U, then it will go like the codes or whatever will go on your Club Nintendo to-do list. And now your Club Nintendo to-do list can't, I guess, be found in the eShop or anywhere within the Wii U. You have to go to ClubNintendo.com and go to the to-do list there. And even on ClubNintendo.com, you can't really find it. I was able to find it through some weird Google link and eventually find it that way and finally get my game and everything. But that was not in any way very user-friendly. I was very disappointed just with how backwards and how ridiculous that was. So, what were you saying?
Answer, please understand.
Yeah. Right. So I'll be going in and talking about the Wii, or Mario Kart 8 a little bit later in the show. But I'm really excited now as a new Wii U owner. I'm really looking forward to E3. I know that Nintendo's not going to have a conference like they traditionally do. They're going to have a Nintendo Direct. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. But I'm really excited to see what they have in store. I'm really looking forward to seeing what new exclusive Nintendo games are going to be coming out. I'm hoping for a new Legend of Zelda game. Maybe a Metroid game would be great. And then I think if they were able to cut the price, maybe $50 to $100, that would be huge. So I'm looking for possibly a price cut at E3 as well. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. I know, Graham, you have a response on my Wii U purchase. So let's hear what you have to say.
Honestly, I don't know. I completely get what you're saying about the Wii U and how games look good, because they do look good, and that's a fact. The Mario Kart 8 does look good. I think Sonic Lost World looks great as well, but I also disagree with you on your point about it looking as good as a PS4 or like even Xbox One, because they okay, essentially Mario Kart 8 and like Sonic and stuff. It's a bit like the original Wii. If you looked at games like Nintendo and even Sega made on the original Wii, the very cartoony ones like Mario Galaxy, like even the Sonic games on it, like Sonic Colors, they look fantastic on the original Wii. But any game that you put on, like, say, the PS4, like you wouldn't be able to put Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes on the Wii U in the same level that the PS4, even the Xbox
Absolutely. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I completely disagree with it. So yeah, effectively, I disagree with that comment that you made. I can understand though that Mario Kart 8 does look fantastic. It does. It genuinely looks like a great game, and I think the Wii U is powerful enough that it's not going to be an issue for a lot of gamers. Because I remember on the original Wii, like some of the third-party games, they just look terrible. Like Spider-Man 3, I think it was, when that came out on the Wii, like. It looked like a Nintendo DS game, like an original Nintendo DS game. The graphics would just look shocking on the Wii version.
Oh, jeez.
And I mean, they wasn't even pushing the Xbox 360 or PS3 at all. And like they sort of had to really dumb it down for the Wii. So, but I think the Wii U is looking great for like the games it does. I'm kind of disappointed with you, but at the same time I'm not. But the only reason I'm disappointed with you is because it's almost like you're following the whole Mario Kart sort of bad thing. Because this is one thing that just annoys me about Nintendo, because I don't have a problem with Nintendo as such, but they keep releasing like Mario Kart games and stuff, which I'm done with Mario Kart in a way. I kind of wish they would just give it a rest for a while. I know it's making them money. I know people go and buy it, so there's a reason why they're doing it. But it's almost like I'm like, oh, come on, man.
This is such a good game. And here's the thing for me, I really want a system that I can bring my kids into and we can all play together.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, there has not been a game yet on the PlayStation 4, and I can't even remember anything on. I'll tell you what, the last game that was actually able to get all the kids together playing as a family and really enjoying it was Minecraft on the Xbox 360. That's the last game that we've had that we've been able to do that for. And Rayman, was it Legends, I think?
Yeah,
we played that quite a bit too.
Kids.
Yeah, that was a great game. So we played that quite a bit. But it hasn't been since, the time when Minecraft, the few months that after it launched on the Xbox 360 that they've been able to really do that. There just hasn't been a game that's kind of, attracted them that much. But I'm telling you, since I brought home Mario Kart 8, that's all they've wanted to do. They've all been playing together. They've all been racing. We've had a great time with it. And I do want to qualify something, though. I wasn't saying that the Wii U graphics were comparative to the PS4 and Xbox One, as in they'd be able to run, like, say, Watch Dogs. If it would look just as good on the Wii U as it would on the PS4. That's not what I meant. I meant the Nintendo-style graphics, what Nintendo does with their visuals and that style looks every bit as good as something that you would see, like, you compare that to something on, the Xbox One or PS4. I just, looking at it, it looks so great. It looks so crisp, and it just looks so good. I don't think that, looking at that and then judging what you see on the PS4 and Xbox One, there's that big of a gap. Now, if you try to put,
actually, I'm sorry, I'm just going to make a point here. And actually, what I think that Nintendo does very well is the fun part, and they actually do that in their games, and they're actually good at it. So I think that console is more focused on actually exploiting the fun part of their games than actually being on the graphic part, and I think that's fair enough for them.
Yeah,
and I've been really wanting to get my kids away from like playing any sort of like violent video games. Like I'm trying to pull them back from all that, like playing first-person shooters and things like that. I'd really like them to playing some of these more like fun competitive style games where it's all about having fun. It's not about shooting people. It's not about killing things. You know what I mean? So that's for me, it's more of a family type system.
I also, there's one other thing I just wish Nintendo would do, and that would be to release a console that is comparable performance-wise to all the other systems. Because like you guys have just said, the Wii U looks great for the games like Nintendo make and the style they do. Imagine that on like a system that's as powerful as the PS4. I mean, I think there'd be no competition. I think they'd be ahead of the game. And if they got all their like online services as good as like the Xbox or the PS4 is now, I think Nintendo would easily storm ahead. There'd be no challenge. I think a lot of people held off on the Wii U simply because they've seen the PS4 and the Xbox One. They think, damn, those things look amazing, like the graphics on those and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's just another issue I've got with Nintendo at the moment on Wii U. I think the Wii U is a good machine, but I personally, a bit like Kopke, there's no real games on there that I want to buy yet. That will make me want to buy the console. Maybe Bayonetta 2 might do that. Sonic Lost World I was interested in. And I'm interested in Mario Kart 8 as well, so maybe by the time Bayonetta 2 comes out, I'm like, there's 4 games on there, I might go and buy it. I'm interested in a new Zelda game. If they make another Zelda game a bit like Ocarina of Time or, like a proper adventure game, I'd be in for that. So, yeah, that's what I've got to say on that. There awesome. You go.
So,
yeah. Man.
Cool. It was getting a little tense there for a second.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's move on, and we're going to introduce one of our another new segment in the show. It's called This Week in SEGA History, and basically after we do our introductions each week, we want to just kind of talk about something that happened this week back in SEGA history, and this is going to be one of Kopke's segments. So, Kopke, I'll hand it over to you and let you take it from here.
Well, everybody gather your cake and gather some confetti and some presents because Sega's birthday is coming up on June 3rd. And it actually is really old. I mean, it was funded in 1960, which will make it our grandpa. So let me just see how many years how many years Sega's gonna be all like.
It's like 54, isn't it?
Yeah, 54 years. Yeah, it's for grandpa. Like, wow. When Sega was funded, like we were even born, and they're getting 50 years old, and it's happy birthday for Sega. And by Sega we mean like former Sega of Japan, because it's the older one. Sega of America came a little bit later, and it was actually a curious thing about Sega is that it is actually an American and Japanese business, because it was funded by Americans and Japan with Japanese partnership. And it was funded by an American, former Air Force military guy, which name is David Rosen. Actually, well, I'm not going to spoil it on that one. I will keep that secret. But the thing is that Sega was making coin-ops at the day. It was more about making entertainment. David Rosen actually had a photo business before making Sega. It was called Photorama, I think. And actually, Sega became the merger of Rosen Enterprises and a Japanese, and the equivalent Japanese for service games, which is Nihon Borato Goso. And both companies merged and became Sega. And they actually released their first original game until 1965, which is Periscope. And they actually became into the console business until 1983 with 2 consoles. One that is the SC3000 and the SG1000. And actually the popular one was the SG1000. It's actually known for people as Sega's first console. But even though the SC3000 was at the same time as the SG1000.
I never even heard of that, the SC3000.
And they actually read the same cartridges. You can plug in an SG1000 cartridge into the SC3000 console, and it actually reads the game, and you can actually play the game. But the popular one was the SG1000 because it was actually the SC3000 is like a computer, like a typewriter machine, and the SG1000 is actually like a console. It is like the whole console thing, which plug in the cartridge and you plug in the controller. And the SG-1000 is actually the base for the Sega Master System, which in Japan was the Sega Mark III, because there were like two versions of the SG-1000, the SG-1001 and the second one, and then it later became the Mark III, which is the base for the Master System. It actually has the Japanese one has better sound chipset than the Sega Master System, but both are a big part of Sega's history. And David Rosen wasn't like part of Sega Japan at that time, but looking at that, there's like so many years of history, and that we are able to play thanks to that. So happy birthday, Sega! We wish you the best, and that sometime you can get back to this path where you make awesome consoles that actually are really good for us. Yay!
Woo! Yeah!
All right.
Go Sega! Sega!
Yeah. Sega!
Let's get into the show feedback and the mailbag now. So we had a couple nice little comments and feedback from last week's show. This one comes from Nostalgia Ninja, who he wrote in on some of his guilty pleasure games. You guys, if you listen to last week's show, he was the one who wrote in and said Puyo was his guilty pleasure game, and we kind of had a little bit of fun there with that. But he wrote in and said, I think the best reason to describe why Puyo is a guilty pleasure game for me is because a lot of coworkers play Call of Duty, and I don't really appreciate first-person shooters. The fact that I'm a Tetris convert makes me feel guilty for abandoning my first puzzle game, which I still get back to playing more often. That, added with the fact that it's a rather niche game, I get a lot of people asking me what it is or being completely bashing towards it, makes me feel that it is a guilty pleasure game rather than ignoring the conformity. And then he goes and says, as for communication, this I think is referring to the Sega the slide from MomoCon 14, the things that they couldn't answer from the Sega community management team. And he wrote in and said, as for communication is key to a lot of what happens in my involvement in the video game industry. I do appreciate the spotting approach for what Sega has done, past and present, but some questions do need answering in that regard, and we continue to push for that. When we get a finite answer is when we'll be satisfied in all concerns.
Yeah, Nostalgia Ninja, you should never feel ashamed of being a Puyo fan. I mean, Puyo is like a big franchise, and everybody loves it. So I don't think it's a guilty pleasure at all. So keep being a huge Puyo fan. So
there you go. And then Shinmu Next Gen wrote in on YouTube, commenting on the MomoCon slide as well. He says, I can't believe they'd even have the audacity to joke about Phantasy Star Online 2. The way they've handled that game is an absolute joke, but not one to be laughed at, I can assure you. And they totally forgot about Where's My Yakuza and Valkyria Chronicles on that list. And in the other recent dead IP news, what the heck happened to Virtua Fighter franchise, or what do you release nowadays other than some Miku and Sonic games? They deserve maximum scorn from the whole gaming community. So, Shinmu Next Gen's a little upset about that.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be. Like, Sega's still working on stuff. I mean, they have to struggle some other things. And it actually was more of a joke than rather.
Yeah. And Virtua Fighter, they released the Virtua Fighter mobile game recently.
Yeah, that's right. And it was actually made and produced by Yu Suzuki.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's not the Virtua Fighter everyone wants, but at least they're still doing something with the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see Graham keep popping in and out. I think he's having some connection issues.
He's just making fun of us.
Yeah. So we'll keep going. From the mailbag, the Requiem 95, otherwise known as Blake on the show, wrote in and asked, with Nintendo announcing NFP/NFC toys for Smash Brothers, do you think we'll get a Sonic one? Which,
yeah, I think
I don't know if I've ever really thought about that. What do you think?
I think they should. There were like a bunch of rumors regarding that, and actually, when the Wii U was about to launch, they were actually planning this, like to actually release figures like what is this game? Skylanders, I think.
Right. Yes.
They actually were planning to do that, and Disney got ahead of the game and made this Disney Infinity stuff, and Skylanders also did. They actually started it. And I think Nintendo will release that, and I think third parties should do so. So Yeah, it's really possible, and it's really a nice marketing strategy for them.
Ubisoft owns Skylanders, right?
No, I think it's Activision.
Are you sure?
Yeah, one of those. The guys who has this Spyro, I think. I think it's Activision. No, I think it's Activision. Ubisoft doesn't have that.
It says here Ubisoft.
Yeah, Skylanders is Ubisoft? No, I don't think so.
Skyland. Oh, wait, what? Wikipedia. Skylanders.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. It is Activision. Okay.
It is Activision. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, because there's a little bit story because Activision run out of money because Guitar Hero isn't selling anymore, so they tried to launch that thing, which is Skylanders, to make the money. So.
I read something somewhere that apparently Activision, before they launched it, went to Nintendo and wanted to make that a Wii U exclusive, and Nintendo turned them down.
Like always, we have a PlayStation thanks to those guys turning down Sony. So
I know. So going back to his question, you know what? I don't know, because I think that this is going to be much more of a first-party Nintendo thing rather than branching out and Sonic. Because the thing is, the idea with what Nintendo wants to do with their version of these toys is they want to make these characters transferable game to game. So say you buy like a Waluigi figurine, you'd be able to use him and play him on, like, say, Mario Kart 8, and he would be like gaining experience, and other attributes would be going up, and he'd be gaining levels or whatever it's going to be while you play that game. So then you take Waluigi and say you play him in another Nintendo game, let's just say the next Mario Brothers game. And he's available there to play. Or Smash Brothers. We'll say that because that makes more sense. Say you play him in Smash Brothers. Now, the experience that he received when you played him in Mario Kart 8 is then going to be added into when you play him in Super Smash Brothers. So he's going to have like either new items or better like attacks or faster. He's going to have better attributes because he has more experience in those games. For Sonic, I just don't see him being on that many Nintendo games, you know what I mean, like going forward. So I don't know if that would necessarily be something that Sega would want to do. Possibly, it would be great if they did, but I just see this as being more of like a Nintendo-centric thing where they're going to be focused more on the Nintendo-owned characters rather than bringing in like characters that have been made appearances and cameos in Nintendo games. So,
well, I think they will. I actually heard. Read a lot of rumors regarding that even before the whole Sonic boom thing started. So I think it is an offering to all third parties to start doing this, and it actually is more business for them. I don't think they will turn their heads down to that because selling figures and to a bunch of kids and getting more money from that. I think it's part of the business strategy. So I think they will.
Graham, are you back?
I'm around, yeah. My camera stopped working, and Google Plus decided to die on me. But yeah, hello.
Huh. All right. Well, what do you think? You yes or no for Nintendo releasing a Sonic the Hedgehog NFC figurine?
I want to say no, but they could do.
That's
you
yes and no at the same
both
time.
make valid points there. It sounds like something it's just going to be a Nintendo first-party type thing, but as Kopke said, it kind of would be like a good money spinner and stuff. And I think Sega and Nintendo have got such a great relationship at the moment, really, that it's not completely beyond the realms of possibility. It could totally happen. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if it did happen. Yeah, I can't give an answer better than that one at the moment. Sorry.
Well, you should be, because that was a terrible answer.
Yeah, I
know. And, really quickly, we'll answer this one. Full Reactive I wrote in. He wants to know what are the possibilities of Shenmue HD during Shenmue #Shenmue E3, which is my favorite hashtag right now. So what do you guys think? Shenmue HD, do you think Sega is going to announce this at E3 this year?
Yeah!
Oh, man.
I hope they do. That's it.
I'm going to say yes to this one.
I don't think so, but my heart stays with I hope they do.
Yeah, so that's the thing. My heart and my penis are saying yes. So I'm going with those two things.
So let's talk about like reality, though. Let's really talk about this. I don't know how legit this is. I don't know if there was ever any backed with any like solid attribution somewhere. But I read somewhat recently that one of the reasons that was stopping Sega from bringing Shenmue HD is that like a piece of the engine that was used in creating Shenmue was owned by another company, and that Sega didn't own the full spectrum of Shenmue, like everything that went into it. So there was some issues with like some negotiating that whole thing, and that was one of the things that was stopping Sega from doing something with the original Shenmue game. So I don't know if that's 100% true. But it sounds like that. I mean, it sounds feasible and enough that could be an entire reason, because game companies so many times they license things from other companies. You know what I mean? There's so much of that happening, and this could be easily the case that Sega just back then they signed a deal to license a piece of technology to apply in Shenmue. And they didn't really think anything of it at the time, and then years later they go back and like, okay, what if we were to bring this out to next gen platforms, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, we got to go back to this company and we have to renegotiate this deal because we don't own this part of the game. Like, we have to go back and kind of renegotiate and figure this out, and then it's going to cost even more money. So then you're talking about all this time and effort negotiating with this other company, spending time on lawyers, all this other stuff, and then paying that company, and then finally getting the full 100% rights to be able to go forward with Shenmue, and then you have to do all the work in there. And it just might be one of those things that's just not, the upside isn't there. They don't think that they're going to be able to get the monetary value back, after spending the time and money to do it.
I think that reason sounds really realistic, and if it is, and I think a lot of fans owe Sega an apology.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also goes back, though, on the other hand, it goes back to like everyone saying, like, just communicate with us. That's all we want you to do.
Yeah.
If there's a reason, if you don't own the full rights to Shenmue, just say it. Just say, this is the reason why we can't do it.
And people will go like, oh, sorry, Sega.
Yeah, as you were talking about that, that's literally what I was just thinking. I was thinking, if Sega said that, then all that sort of, the negativity, like the hate that Sega have been getting, going, where's Shenmue? They'd go towards the other company that, say, owns this bit of technology, go, give Sega the fucking rights, man! And then they're like, bombarded with that. Sega could like just sit back and go, yeah, that's easy.
So it would be funny, and then we could just create a Kickstarter to buy the rights of that one thing for Shenmue, and then we just create that and be like, all right, Sega, we fucking went out and we spent the money, and we gathered, like, whatever, say $200,000 to purchase the license for this. Now you have no goddamn excuse. Make fucking Shenmue HD.
That'd be good, as long as that's true. Because how legitimate is that story? Do you know?
I have no idea. I read it online. I don't know. I read it online. But at the time, like, the person who wrote it sounded very confident, I should say, in their writing. But I don't know. I don't know how legitimate it was, honestly. That's why we've never done anything with it on the side or anything. But well,
at least it sounds like the better excuse so far for not being able to release it. I mean, if it is, it would make a lot of sense, and a lot of fans should apologize for being like really bad.
Here's what we'll do: we'll give a percentage. What would you give as a percentage for Sega announcing Shenmue HD at E3? Graham, you go first.
My genuine. Okay, do you want to do
genuine?
Yes,
answer?
Genuine answer.
What Graham's penis percentage? Right here.
Graham's penis percentage says like 99%, but Graham's brain percentage says like 40%, maybe.
40%. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Kopke?
I will go with 30%.
I'm going to say 15% likelihood that Sega's going to announce.
You guys are way negative.
Yeah.
I'm more realistic.
We're in a bargain, so.
I just think if Sega was going to do it, they would have done it by now. That's the thing. Like, I don't see them doing it. Why now and why not 2 years ago? You know what I mean? Why release Shenmue HD on these consoles that have when you compare the numbers that are out there, like PS4 has like 7 million now, something around there. Xbox One has maybe 6 million, something around there. Why release?
PS4 9 million and Xbox is about 7 million now, I think.
Okay, all right. So roughly, 16 million consoles out there. Compare that to what was out on the PS3 and Xbox 360, which was far, far larger. Why would you wait and release Shenmue HD on these consoles when you got about 16 million versus the Xbox 360 and PS3 that had drastically more? It just seems like it would have been a way better business decision to do it then than to do it now. Now, I will go ahead and say that I think releasing Shenmue 1 and 2 on HD or HD on these on new platforms, they could still release them on the Xbox 360 and PS3, I suppose. But I think it would be just a good litmus test for Sega to gauge the interest in the gaming community for a Shenmue 3 to see if there is enough interest there and if there's any like feasibility of them doing that and going down that road. And at that point, if Sega did ever bring Shenmue 1 and 2 HD, to any sort of platforms, it's on the gaming community to go and buy that game like fucking madness, because if everyone goes out and buys the game and it's a gigantic success, that's the #1 way to show Sega, look, Shenmue 3 will make you money, it will be profitable this time. That's the #1 way more than anything is to pay with your wallet. That's how companies, more than any other way, that's the way you can get their their attention. So if Sega were ever to do it, I would really please the entire gaming community, the entire Sega community, just go and buy the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way, the best hope that we could ever get in getting the next Shenmue games.
And if we release Shenmue HD on the Wii U, then
yeah, I think that would be the best way for Sega to troll us, everyone. Like, okay, you got Shenmue, but you will only get it on Wii U.
I'm fine with it. I know I got a Wii U, so I'm good.
I will go and buy a Wii U there and then as soon as I hear that announcement.
They're gonna put on the OUYA.
Yeah, that game alone will make me buy a Wii U console. So
Man.
Will they bring on the PSP?
Man, I would even buy a Vita if they.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our mailbag and show feedback section. So now we're going to move in to the news. And as always, Grammy Boy is going to do that.
Awesome, yeah. As Chris sort of mentioned at the introduction of the show, the Sega made a nice announcement about a new character joining the Sonic Boom cast. She's called Styx, and apparently she's a wild badger or something. That's like, I was sorry, getting the little quote from Sega there. Styx is a significant addition to the Sonic Boom universe and the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, said, oh god, it's another Japanese name, I can never say these, Hiroyuki Miyazaki. Yeah, that'll do. He's the chief content officer for the Sonic brand at Sega America, and she said about the character, she brings a quirky personality and perspective to the team dynamic, and we look forward to sharing this energetic and funny new character with the world. And I don't know if you guys have anyone seen the picture of her. Yeah, she looks pretty crazy.
It looks like
Chris has left the room. No, Chris. Damn it. I was hoping Chris could bring up the picture of Styx. But,
I think it was like a painful visual thing for him, so he couldn't stand it anymore.
Yeah, man. But she's been described as the most primal character in the Sonic universe, and effectively, she's meant to have been sort of left out of society for a lot longer or something. This is something I read on a Sega blog the other day. They said that Styx is wilder than the other members of Sonic's team, with unparalleled animal instincts and extremely sharp survival skills. And there's a whole thing about how Styx and Amy, like Amy's helping Sticks like integrate into society more, they're better into the team and stuff. So Amy and Sticks like best friends in the game, in the cartoon, from what I've read. And also apparently she's a fearsome combatant and a tenacious hunter who's armed with handmade weapons, and most notably a boomerang that she keeps in tow. And that leads on to a post that we had on the site, which Chris is actually going to do a different post, I think. Actually, I think it's on our Facebook page. Of that, it looks a lot like I can never pronounce the name. Akai from
Aika.
Aika.
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
Let's see if I can go. I can go there.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
What do you guys think? That when I saw her, that's immediately what I thought.
Yeah, I completely. There you go. Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that! I mean, the pigtails look almost identical.
They both got boomerangs.
They both have boomerangs.
When I saw it, I thought they were making a mutation between Aika and Marine.
Yeah.
Well, Marine, that's what a lot of people have been kind of comparing her to, but I think it looks a lot like her, because I mean, look, you're right, Graham. Like the colors are similar. The yellow, gold, and brown. They both have the boomerangs. They both have necklaces on. They both have that weird like skirt type thing.
Yeah.
And
Boobs.
the same pose.
Boobs.
They both have eyes.
Yeah.
They both have a girl.
No, I don't think that like they ripped it off or anything like that. But I don't even necessarily know if like they used her as inspiration. I just thought that like, wow, the similarities are quite dramatic, I think. Like, I mean, there is a lot of similarities there.
Yeah.
And even if they did, they own the character, so...
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. They can do that, yeah. Man. I think I've just gone through the whole thing about Sticks that we know so far.
But yeah, here's that crazy lady voicing her. She looks insane.
It's so weird seeing a cartoon character's like real human person like doing the voice. It's annoying. We can't get sound when you share the videos, can we?
No, I don't think so.
I cannot
She
find
looks insane. She looks like who's the lady in The Emperor's New Groove? That's who she looks like. You remember the old lady? Like the old. Look at her right here.
The evil bad guy.
Yeah, like she gotta look like her.
Oh man, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I don't want to watch it now.
Man. Yeah. So,
I don't know.
But she seems like a sweet lady.
Yeah.
No, I don't
she's
think
like
so.
a nice lady.
So what do you guys think of Sticks? Do you think?
I think that lady is the kind of lady that throws cats at you.
Oh God.
Man. As for the character Sticks, okay, this could sound a bit crazy. I think she's a good addition.
I don't think that sounds crazy at all.
Good, because there's a lot of characters in the Sonic universe I just don't like. Like I really hate Blaze the Cat with a passion. I don't know why. I can't stand that character.
I hate most of the characters in the Sonic universe. I'll say that. Aside from like the core Sonic, like I'll say like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and I'll say outside of that, Big the Cat I kind of like.
I like Big the Cat. There's nothing wrong.
I'm saying I like him.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's just
like
everyone else
the
hates
one
Big the
edition
Cat.
I like.
What? There's nothing wrong with it.
Like Silver and all those other guys, like it's just they're bad. Like
I quite like Silver as well, actually.
this core group, I'm fine with this core group right here. Like I like this. And the addition of Sticks, I'm okay with, because here's the thing though too, is it brings another girl into the mix, which kind of brings more, like more little kids into it. There's going to be like there's another girl that kids can relate to.
And it makes the orgy scenes a lot less male oriented. Yeah. There you go.
And then it'll also like they're going to be fighting over Sonic too, right?
Oh yeah.
Or maybe Tails will finally get some action.
Maybe. Well, I have to admit, Tails has been annoying me in the last few years. Like his character's just gone downhill.
Oh, I see there's a named her 6.
Oh no! Oh, spelling mistake.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Whoops.
Right, we'll edit that right now.
Yeah, we'll fix that right now.
Should we move on to the next bit of news? Unless you guys have anything else to add about Sticks or Six?
I'm excited. Yeah, like I'll just say like I'm optimistic about Sticks, I should say. I think I think that's what a lot of the people. There wasn't a backlash. At least I didn't see it on social media. Nowhere near the amount of backlash as when Sega unveiled the Sonic Boom team, right? With the raps or whatever it is. I think people are optimistic about it, and I think it's a good addition. So
yeah,
good job, Sega, and
well done.
Whoever else was involved. So. Steven, good job, buddy.
Nice. Yeah. Move on to the next one. Exciting time for Dreamcast fans, as always. It looks like there's going to be another, potentially another RPG coming out for the game. And Chris is showing it there by the looks of it. It's called Elysian Shadows, and it's deemed as being
Elysian.
Elysian, okay.
Yeah.
Elysian? Elysian, you're correct there. Sorry, I can't pronounce anything. God damn it! It's a classic. This is what they're saying. It's classic 16-bit RPG inspired next-gen RPG. There's sort of it's like an oxymoron in itself, but it's 2D and 3D effectively. They say it's got real-time combat system, and players can switch between the 2D and 3D perspectives. But it's being published by Watermelon Games, who've done several other sort of indie Dreamcast titles, which is awesome. It's not actually being developed by them, but they're helping the team produce the physical editions for the Dreamcast.
Right.
And it's not just a Dreamcast exclusive title. Once finished, the game's hopefully going to be on the PC. It's going to be available on Apple, Linux, OUYA, Android, and iOS platforms. No Windows Phone. What the hell? God damn it, guys. Where's the Windows 8 store? Come on! They're getting up for a Kickstarter campaign later this summer to help secure funding to continue development of the game. So, yeah, I guess, guys, if you want to get some awesome Dreamcast action, check out the Kickstarter and stuff. The game's looking pretty good so far, I think.
It's very early on.
That's the thing. It's very early on. I'm just interested in like the whole 2D, 3D sort of.
You can see if you watch this. One of the cool things that this team is doing, they have a thing called like Adventures in Game Development, and they basically just have like an hour-long show. It's a really long show, and they just go and show you all the stuff like they're making the game, and they explain stuff that they're doing, and they really take you behind the scenes and show you like they're building this Dreamcast game or this RPG. And they show you all about like the game development. So it's a really neat series that they have going on, and it's becoming really popular on YouTube. It's just really cool. So I suggest you go out and check those guys out. If you go to the website, there's links all in the article that we posted. And what's neat is, these guys actually they emailed us last week. I kind of teased it on the show last week. Talking about the new Dreamcast RPG coming out. This is it. And we're actually going to have them on the show here pretty soon to talk more about it. I'm really excited to have those guys on. And they sent us some new exclusive screens, or I don't know if they're exclusive, I should say. They sent us some new some screens of the game. We'll post them in a gallery, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, to get another look at it. One of the ones was the Dreamcast box art. So that looks really cool. Pretty neat, and I don't know. It's awesome to have another Dreamcast RPG. We have Pierre Solar HD from Watermelon, obviously, and to be able to get another one, it's really exciting, and it's going to be neat. They're going to have a Kickstarter, so we're going to be able to, as the community, to be able to go out and help these guys raise some funds to continue their work. But they're a passionate group of people out here creating an old school style RPG. Which you tell me you're bringing an RPG to the Dreamcast, and you got my attention. I'll say that right there.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice. Not bashing anyone who buys these games or makes the games, but it's nice to see a new Dreamcast game that's not a scrolling shooter.
I know.
It's really hard for me to get excited about those games anymore.
Yeah, I think the games, from what I've seen, because I haven't actually had a chance to play any of them, they look great. Like Ducks and stuff looks amazing. They're not even my style of game. I've never even been into those, so it's nice to see like a different style of game come out, and it's just like, yeah, I'm really excited for this, definitely.
Yeah, I've been a huge shoot 'em up fan, but it is also great to actually see these kind of games, like seeing more platformers or like RPGs out there for the Dreamcast.
Their Kickstarter campaign launches August 1st in 60 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Countdown to the Kickstarter.
After the World Cup, because after the World Cup, because during the World Cup nobody's gonna pay attention to you.
Yeah, true. Man.
So that's kind of wise from them. Another thing that Sega should do is like release a developer kit. Looking at all these new releases, they should release a developer kit and get money from that.
It would be interesting if Sega were to like actually go in and publish some of these games.
It would be nice.
That would be cool because you saw. I don't know if you guys watched the. Actually, we probably should talk about it on this show. I forgot about it. The pilot episode of Sega Central, the Sega Europe video series. But one of the things that they did out at the EGX Res is they sponsored a booth to allow indie developers to come and showcase their games. Now, if you're going to go out and support indie developers in this way, which I think that was a great thing to do because it's expensive to purchase booths at these expos, and Sega was able to come and do this and allow these indie developers to showcase their games, and they didn't have to pay all the money to do that, to have a booth of their own. But if you're going to do that, why not go and support the indie developers out there that are making these awesome games, but also making these games on your previous platforms? You know what I mean? So I think it would be great if Sega went out and published and supported in some way some of these indie games like that. I would love that. And then they could, like you said, they could go and share some either an SDK or something like that with these guys. So. And
if they release an SDK, they can actually make the SDK able to export for your previous consoles like the Saturn or the Dreamcast, or actually to develop to export those games to mobile. So that way you have all the games in 3 platforms and also co-publish those games, like getting extra money for being able to fund those games. I think that would be interesting. It's an actually good business chance for them, but who knows?
I was watching one of the latest adventures in gaming, and one of the things that they're really excited about is the dynamic shadows in the game. So you can see this right here, see how all the shadows are moving against the character and some of the housing and everything else. It's actually and it looks really cool. It showed how he kind of went and fixed it and some of the stuff. So looks pretty neat. So I'm excited for it. I like the art style. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
So, Elysian Shadows. You'll be hearing more from these guys here soon. So,
yay!
I bet it'll come out before the Sega Nerds RPG does, right, Graham?
Yeah, totally will.
How is that? What's the status on that one?
I need to speak to you about something regarding that game. Actually, I've written out the main storyline for it. But it relies on getting some people involved, possibly. So, but we're going to have to speak to some
Tom Kalinske, we need you now.
Yeah.
We have to get you involved. If you're listening to this, Tom Kalinske.
I'll have to speak to you about that at some point. And also need to show you the actual storyline, because I want to get the storylines nailed, and then I can actually make more of the game. But it's been, so I have to admit, sorry to everybody, like you, Chris, Kopke, and also anyone who's actually vaguely interested in wanting to play the game.
There's a lot of people interested in playing the game.
It's literally a case of my life in the last few months has been so ridiculous, new job and everything, moving. I don't know, it's just been pretty hectic. And also, to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty tired after I get home from work. I just want to sleep. So often I get home from work, I think, should I do something? Should I do some writing? Should I work more on the game? Just a nice little nap, that'll do. So yeah, my fault, me being shit. But yeah, it's very slowly making progress. But yeah, this game's definitely going to come out before ours. Oh man. But actually, tell you the truth, sorry, randomly, I've been making it using the RPG Maker that I downloaded. There's a guy I work with who's a really good developer, and he made a game in an afternoon that was basically it was Flappy Birds, but better than Flappy Birds. It's like a Flappy Birds, we shoot the Flappy Birds and stuff. And he said he made that in like an afternoon with his daughter. And he's a really good coder, so I may speak to him more about actually helping make my game, maybe. So we may not even use the RPG Maker.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens, and I'll have to try and keep you updated better on that. Yeah.
Thanks, Graham.
Cool. Anyway. Yeah, so let's move on to the next bit of news.
SEGA Central.
What's that?
SEGA Central?
We'll save that one at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say about this is controversial. The former Index CEO / president has been arrested on fraud charges. And if you guys don't know, Index was the parent company of Atlus before Sega bought them out. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. For however much it was, 14 billion yen. But they've been, the former Index Core CEO and president Masami Ochiai and his wife Yoshimi Ochiai were arrested on fraud charges in Japan. Okay. Apparently, they attempted to hide the company's financial problems to stop from being delisted from the JASDAQ, and they did this by using round-trip transactioning, which I don't really know what that is, to falsify the volume and profitability of the company, basically.
It sounds like completely legit something. You say, like, oh, we're going to do some round-trip transacting. I'm like, okay, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That sounds perfect. But apparently it's illegal. You can't do that. And so essentially what they did is they were able to use this method to make it seem like to, I guess, the stock exchange and their shareholders that they actually sold a lot more and made a lot more money than they actually did. And this only came to light after the company declared bankruptcy, and then they had to pretty much like show like all their financial information, and they were able to find out like, hey, wait a second, you guys reported sales of what 1.8 billion and profits of 39 million, which just was not the case at all. They probably lost a shit ton of money, so not a good thing. And it's probably good that Atlus is no longer being run by these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So luckily, I don't think that's going to affect Sega in any way at all, because it was the president of the original company. Because I've heard before when like companies take over other companies, they have to like inherit their debts and stuff. But like, hopefully, this isn't going to affect them.
It would be funny if Atlus somehow worked this storyline into Persona 5. Would that be great?
It would be hilarious.
Like if they actually had these guys as like some like villains or something in the game. Like I could see them making Masami Ochiai like one of the like a principal, like an evil principal or something like that, and like Yoshimi would be like a really mean teacher and let their act, and that would be great. And they're always like trying to steal money from the kids, like steal their lunch money.
Or lying about how much money they have.
Yeah, that would be great.
I've never played a Persona game, but I would definitely buy that.
That's three purchases right there, Atlus. So you should probably listen to us on that, because we know what we're talking about.
Wow, there we go.
Because selling 3 games, yeah.
Why don't we talk about Sega Central really quick? We totally forgot to put it on the outline this week, but I don't know, Graham, do you want to talk about this? Do you know much about it? Did you watch this before? Have you seen this? Let me ask you that.
I saw the trailer that they were teasing the whole thing. I didn't actually get to see the first episode though.
Yeah, I actually saw that first one.
So
now this is these are the 2 hosts of Sega Central, Jim Dyer and what was her name? Katie Clements. Now, Jim Dyer, doesn't he look like good guy Biff Tannen on...
oh my god.
When I saw him, I'm like, he looks like the good Biff Tannen from...
Wow.
Holy crap.
Back to the Future.
We should make a meme out of that.
I wrote that in the write-up that I did on the site. No. I saw him. I'm like, hey, it's Biff Tannen. Hey,
I don't like to judge people, but I don't like this guy because he's got his top button done up, and that annoys me.
Yeah,
oh, you don't like the top?
It actually disturbs me too. I don't know why, but it actually does.
Yeah, if you've got a tie on, do your top button up. But if you don't have a tie on, why are you doing your top button up?
That. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I guess, like, has the hipster culture made its way to Europe?
God, England? Yeah. God damn it has.
So that I assume this is what, I guess he's like hipster Biff then.
Yeah, I guess so. It's been around for too long. I thought this fad would have died out by now, but you can't go into shops now and buy normal clothes. It's all freaking hipster stuff. It really annoys me.
Do they still have
buy a normal pair of jeans?
And have the chavs turned into hipsters, Graham?
What's that? Sorry?
Have chavs turned into hipsters? Or are they still there?
Chavs are still there, but there are more hipsters out there. Chavs have tried to dress up smarter now, but they're still chavs. So, yeah.
Well, Katie's kind of cute, though. I should say, like.
Yeah, she seems nice.
I like her. The only thing is, like, in this first episode, Biff like completely hogs the airtime. The entire time, it's Biff like going around talking to developers, and then at the very end, Katie talks about Football Manager Classic 2014 and some like factoids.
I actually saw those two guys, like two hippies that run a summer camp for kids.
You know, like I think it's a neat thing that Sega of Europe is doing, because honestly, this is the first peep I've heard about of Sega of Europe for a long time. We just haven't heard anything from the marketing team out there. So it's neat that they're doing that, because there's so many European developers that Sega has out there, and they're doing a lot of great work. Total War, Company of Heroes, or Relic. I don't think
they are actually making the games that sell for Sega.
Yeah, I mean, they're like these guys are working on Alien Isolation, these very important games. I like this
Football Manager.
Right here, Biff is talking to this guy, and he's like, "This is the first guy who's played Alien Isolation ever. ... in the world." He just like there's like this like hesitation, this like, and then he talks to these rest of the people who played Alien Isolation in the world, and they're all like just talking about, "Oh my God, scariest game ever. I peed my vagina," is what. And,
I cannot wait for that game to come out. Actually,
it looks like a gret game. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, like I think this is a neat little video series that Sega Central's doing. I think that I read that I think every 6 weeks is when they plan on releasing an episode. So it's not something that's going to be like out there every week or anything like that. The next episode is going to be on E3 2014. So if you're going to E3. Biff Tannen is going to be there.
And the sexy kids.
There is not going to be a buttoned unbuttoned on his shirt. I guarantee it. He'll have all of his buttons buttoned.
Man,
it's going to look awesome.
If I ever get to go to like one of the events that he's at, I'm going to rip that top button off and run away.
Just that's like this guy was that? I didn't realize that. That Will Wheaton was a developer at Sega. And the guy on the left over here looks like a Braveheart extra, doesn't he? Like, he looks kind of awesome. I'll admit, I like his hair. And then these guys is basically just showing. So this is like he's showing Rome Total War running on like a tablet, and he's basically showing that now you can draw on a tablet and make your army go places.
Bloody hell!
Oh my God. Biggest. This is some evolution right here.
What tablet is that?
That's the new OnLive tablet. Just kidding.
It is a Surface.
That's an OUYA tablet.
It's a Surface.
Oh God. And then.
Is it Surface? Excellent. Woohoo!
And so now they're showing Company of Heroes: The Western Front Armies DLC, and. Here's handsome Biff again. Now this is you go in about the 3-minute and 30-second mark. They go into what's called the Left Field Collection at EGX Res, and this is what I was telling you guys earlier, where Sega rented out a booth and allowed indie developers to come and kind of show off their games. And that's a little bit of that. We'll go to Sega Central Factoids, and this is where
football, yay.
Katie talks about Football Manager.
Oh yeah.
Worst game ever.
Yeah, it's actually good. It's actually good, and it is actually the game that's keeping Sega with money.
Yeah. I'm not massive into football, but
I would
sat
argue
and played
that
that game.
Hell Yeah is the game that's keeping SEGA afloat right now.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So.
Yeah, it's Katie. She's gonna be my new.
Graham is definitely gonna stalk Katie.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's got a Twitter handle. I'm gonna have to find this out.
Do you think
that's what's going to be happening when
we see if she's on Twitter, Graham? Let's see.
Let's find out.
Katie Clements. Alright. Clements Katie, you think?
I don't know.
There's a lot of them.
Click on that. Is there anyone who looks...
all people for Katie Clements. Should we do that? It's probably a little creepy. Wow, there's a lot of people named Katie Clements.
Who'd have thought, hey?
Yeah, maybe it was like, oh, you should not give your real name. Just give a Katie Clements so nobody can find you.
GS Sports Management. That does not look like her.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think it's her.
She's English, right?
Yeah, she
and
looks
if it does, yeah.
Oh,
no, thanks.
Man.
However, I guarantee you all these Katie Clements, Graham would date all of you, just on basis that you're a girl.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's go to that stage, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah.
If we can, Sega. Hey, LinkedIn. Graham,
Oh, she's on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I won't go there because
other Facebook.
It's getting a little creepy, a little bit.
Maybe I'll go there then.
Graham, I'll let you go there.
Fantastic.
We've done enough.
I'm gonna add her.
E-stalking poor Katie. I apologize.
Maybe we should do that. We should have a feature each week where we stalk Katie.
Oh my god! We find like her Instagram. We're like, where's Katie been this week? Like, oh, like, what has she eaten for lunch this week? Let's see what she's wearing to the movies.
And we can stalk Biff as well. We can see how many buttons he's done up. It's fine.
Let's see if we can go back. Like we will find his Facebook and let's see if we can find a photo of him with a button undone. That'd be more fun.
Just dead.
I guarantee there's not one. Biff has been buttoning those shirts ever since he was in a onesie, and there were no buttons. Even he would just sew buttons on them.
I'm gonna be tomorrow, like working, and I'm gonna be remembering this and start laughing like a maniac.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, I've just stalked her on LinkedIn. I don't think this is the same Katie. I think there's two Katie Clements.
Well, that's Katie Clement Sega though.
She's got blonde hair in that video, yeah.
Well, I think it looked kind of dyed because it almost was like a little. It seemed like it had a green hue to it.
Okay, I can't tell. But.
So she's almost like like that chick from Game of Thrones. Like she has the platinum blonde hair, like Khaleesi. She's the Sega's Khaleesi.
Wow, amazing.
Katie Khaleesi Clements. It says. Oh gosh, I can't. I'm not gonna do this, Graham.
Let's stop.
I'm not doing this.
I apologize. If Katie happens to be watching, sorry, we're just messing around. Sorry.
Oh god.
Oh man, please don't arrest us.
That went down a dark path.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, I did. And that's why you can't have girls on the internet. Like,
yeah.
That's why the girl gamer problems right there. Like, God, we can't get all of ourselves.
Yeah.
Can't see a cute girl on the internet and we go crazy.
Should we go on to the feature discussion?
Yeah, let's go on to the feature discussion. And this is one of the things that I really it's kind of I hold near and dear to my heart. It's very important to me. And I kind of came to I guess I could almost say a revelation here recently that I really think that the OUYA is coming to its own, and I think that now more than ever is the time that you should jump on board and purchase an OUYA. Now I'm going to try to make my points. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because I'm like 3 or 4 beers in at this point, so I'm having a little hard time focusing on what I want to say. But before I do that, Graham, I know that you've been very anti-OUYA, right? And so before I begin with the reasons why I think you should own an OUYA, I want to know from your perspective on what issues and things that you have against the OUYA and why you think the OUYA is not something that people should own.
I'm gonna go out there on the level with everyone. I've never actually played the OUYA.
Oh God!
But I had an instant
instant credibility.
I know. Okay. Granted, it means that I should really actually sit down and play on one and experience it properly. However, I just disliked the whole campaign when they first started it. Like the whole video they sent out there was they kept going, "Yeah, we're going to bring gaming back to the TV and stuff." That really wound me up because it's just like I'm playing on games on my TV already. What? And the whole thing I didn't get about it was that even when they were launching it and stuff, they didn't give away like any real specific details on the system, but yet they seemed to manage to convince all these people to buy into it, and it was just like, what are people doing? But I've spoken to some people who own it, OUYA, and they enjoy it, but the only reason why they seem to enjoy it is because you can hack it and put like emulators on it and stuff, and I was like, buy a cheap PC, dude. Like, you can do all that on a PC. You can do more of that, more on a PC. It just seems to be as an Android-based system, which is fine. But even when the OUYA was released, there were several phones on the market at the time which were more powerful, so they could do more than the OUYA could. And it's just like, okay, and the OUYA's not properly upgraded. It's not like a PC. You can't like they're not releasing components all the time that can easily upgrade it. I know the OUYA, you can take it apart and do what you want with it in theory, but it's almost like I don't understand the point of an underpowered Android system to play games on. One guy, actually, both you and I both know, Chris. I'm not sure. Should I say his name?
Yeah, because I don't know who you're talking about.
Jeremy. We're on live stuff.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. He was talking about the OUYA and stuff on Facebook the other day, and I actually asked him the question, why do you love it so much? And he's like, so I can put XBMC on it, the sort of the media thing, whatever it is.
Xbox Media Center is what it originally.
Yeah. I was like, okay, can't you do that on the PC? And he was like, well, yeah, you can. I was just like, well, I don't really. I was like, but you can do that all on the PC. Why do you need to buy this little console thing? Granted, I think maybe it's handy to have a nice little box by your TV. We've got emulators on and stuff. And you can do little things. It's sort of hidden away. But I'm still like, you can do all that stuff with a Raspberry Pi, for God's sake. I just don't really get it. And the games you're getting out on there, nothing's going to like. It's the other thing. Most of the games that are coming out on it are mobile phone games, which fair enough. Some mobile phone games are really advanced now. However, they're not as advanced as proper console games, like the Wii U, the Xbox One, the PS4. When I'm playing a game on my TV, I want to play I want to be playing like Skyrim or something like that, something freaking amazing. Mobile games, I'm happy to play on my phone because even though they're really advanced now, they're still nowhere near as advanced as a proper console. And I'm just like, I just don't understand the OUYA. And like, it's a really underpowered mobile phone system effectively that you have to plug into your TV, and I don't get it. I would rather buy an Android phone, a powerful Android phone, and be done with it. 'Cause you can do pretty much everything on the Android phone that you can do on the OUYA, and you can walk around with it. I can take it down to the shops and play with it there. There we go. That's granted, though. I will admit, I might have to go and find someone who actually owns it and play it. Maybe I'll come around to yours, Chris, and play it one day.
Yeah, if you come here in a few weeks, you can.
Maybe I will. Yeah. Maybe I will.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so I completely understand all of those issues and concerns that you have with the OUYA, because I think most of those are absolutely warranted. Now, here's the thing. First and foremost, before I get started on to why I think everyone should own an OUYA, I'm going to say that I don't think that the OUYA is necessarily meant to replace anything in your living room, like whether that be the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, your Wii U, PS3, any of that stuff. I don't think it's meant or will ever replace a primary video game system, like a next-gen system. I don't think it's going to do that. I think the OUYA is best served as a complementary system, something that you keep alongside with all these other systems and you use for all these other different purposes, rather than your primary gaming, system. I think it should sit next to that. And that's not something that's, you know, and I absolutely, I don't think that that's a negative on the OUYA, because I think many of the systems that are out today aren't necessarily a primary system. I don't think the Wii U is a primary gaming system. If you're a hardcore gamer and you want to play video games, I don't think you should just own the Wii U. I think you should either look to own a Wii U and maybe a PS4 or an Xbox One, you know, or a PC, and all these other things. I don't think that that's necessarily a slight against the OUYA at all. And also, the OUYA, when you look at what the OUYA is today, it's far, far different than what the OUYA was a year ago, or when the OUYA released, because they have constantly and you know they've been releasing updates and firmware upgrades and things like that have consistently added features and usability and just streamlined the entire user interface. Now, a few weeks ago, they released a new firmware update called the Chupacabra update, and that did a lot of neat little things. One of the great things it did is just really streamline the entire user interface. It did a lot of like little tweaks and things like that. But even before that, they added USB hard drive support, so you can install like a thumb drive or a hard drive to expand, like greatly expand, really. The storage space there, because most of the OUYAs, I think they come with like 16 gig or like 32 gigabyte like hard drive space. Oh, Odin's up. He's coming down. Hey, buddy. Hey, Odin. It was just his birthday yesterday, so he's all happy right now. But anyway, so like one of the other like interesting things that OUYA did is there's no longer a free game requirement with the OUYA. Now, if you guys remember when the OUYA first launched, that was like one of the big things. Like everything's free on the OUYA store, and that was a little misleading because everything wasn't free. Essentially, what they made developers do is, like, if you're going to bring a game out on the OUYA, you have to have like a demo, or like the first few levels are free, or you give like the gamer 30 free minutes or something like that. And they also, another really weird thing they did is they hid the cost of the game from you. Like, you didn't see the cost of the game initially until after you played through the demo and everything towards the end. And sometimes, like, the game, you would play through it and you're like, hey, I like this game, but all of a sudden, like, you reach the paywall and it's like, okay, now pay $15 or something for this game. We're like, no way, this game isn't worth $15. And now they did away with that. So now, like, you go to the store and you see it's just like the PS4 and the Xbox One. You see what the games are going to cost before you even have to up or download anything, which is just a nice, like, little addition. And so when you look at what the OUYA was a year ago into the OUYA now, it's a very different machine. So let me just start there and say that. Now, one of the biggest complaints that a lot of people I hear have with the OUYA is just the games. There's not enough games out there, and that's really the most important thing when you're talking about a video game machine. If you were on the podcast or listened to the podcast a few episodes ago, Al Nilsson was on. He said the name of the game is the game, and that came from, I believe, Peter Main from Nintendo was the one who originally coined that term. But it's a very apt term, because it's absolutely true. If you're going to come out with a video game system, you better have the games to be able to support that. Now, the first year or so, I'll be honest, the OUYA did not have enough compelling software on its marketplace to warrant, I think, the mass amount of gamers to go out and buy the system. But I think that's changing, and there's software out there, there's games out there that really represent the whole scale of genres out there. That if you're a platforming fan, if you're an RPG fan, you're a strategy fan, MMO fan, anything out there, there are some really good games out there for everyone. And I think anyone who's actually a gaming fan can find something, and find quite a few games that are really good. So, like, for instance, I just wrote down a few games that I found here recently myself that I think were really good. One game, I like the Legend of Zelda series. I like that whole kind of top-down adventure-style games. There's a game out there called It'll Do that's very, very Zelda-like, and it actually was kind of funny. I didn't know, but it's also available on the Wii U eShop. But it's on the OUYA as well. I'm going to ruin this. Maldita Castilla is a Ghosts and Goblins style game. So it's like a side-scrolling platformer / action game that's really hard and difficult. It looks really cool. Towerfall and Duck Game are these really neat 4-player co-op / multiplayer games where it's almost like a Joust style game, if you remember that on the old Atari. In the arcades a long time ago, where you're like 3-4 players on this one map, and you're just jumping around, like shooting at each other, trying to kill each other. Very fast-paced, very hectic, and those games are really cool. Fist of Awesome is a really fun, crazy beat-em-up that you can get, and some of the really good games that have released here recently. I don't know if you remember. Do you guys remember Double Fine about a year or two ago? And it was more about a year ago. They went to Kickstarter, and they raised like over $3 million to fund a game. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think it was called Broken Age, and it's a classic-style point-and-click adventure game.
It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, that just released here a couple of days ago, and they released a... let me see here. They released the game on OUYA, and I've just been playing it, and I have to say it's fantastic. I'm gonna
the game is pretty great.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the trailer right now.
PC.
So it's there. What I want to say is like basically what this all amounting to is there is a lot of good quality games on the OUYA now. I realize, Graham, what you said is essentially. You can consider an underpowered mobile phone. Well, one of the things about mobile phones today is they're very powerful. They are very, very powerful devices, and I don't think that just because there's a set-top gaming machine that is necessarily not the more powerful than a mobile phone is necessarily a bad thing, because one of the things you've got to keep in mind is these mobile phones are meant to be multi-purpose, and they have to do a lot of things. They don't play video games nearly as well as the OUYA is going to do, because that's one of the OUYA's main purposes. That's what it does, is play video games. And it does that really well in comparison, especially comparing it to a like a mobile phone. And I don't know any gamer out there who's going to prefer the mobile experience over a I'm just going to click something. Just keep
console
going.
Experience.
Over playing something with a joystick and a controller. No one's going to do that because there's not that tactile feel. It's not going to be anywhere near as good, and you're not going to feel that gratification that you will with a controller on a phone. So I don't think you can ever right. And let me see. Here's another one. Another really cool. Point-and-click style horror game is called Whispering Willows. That this just released about a week ago as well. I bought it, haven't been able to get into it yet, but it looks just really, really fantastic. I think it released May 27th, so just a few days ago. But it looks really good. And one of the things is like there's just a lot more. You're slowly seeing more. Dare I say, like big budget indie games, like not games that are AAA titles, but on the indie side, they're much more polished than you would, that you've seen on the OUYA before. Like these games are getting much more polished. They're looking a lot better. Like this game, in my opinion, looks every bit, as good as something that you'd see on like the PSN or XBLA. Like it looks like a $15, PSN game to me. And it looks really good. I've watched a few playthroughs from it, and it looks like a really fun game. So, on the software side, the game side, which in my opinion is really the most important thing, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, the OUYA is finally coming into its own. It's finally getting some compelling software, and one of the things that I think the team there at OUYA is doing is they're finding their niche. They're not chasing these big budget AAA games. What they're doing is they're getting these like really solid indie games where the only other place that you're really going to find them at is like maybe like Steam or Desura or something like that. You're not necessarily going to be able to always find them even on other consoles. So they have that. They have the games. That's the most important thing. Those are coming around. Next up, let's see here, there's apps. Now, this is another thing that when you're talking about a video game console, a lot of people today, they want something that's more than just a standalone video game player, right? Like you want something that can, it's like multi-purpose. You want something that can play video games, but you can also play some multimedia. You can do other things when you're not in the mood to play a video game. Now, here's, in my opinion, where really the OUYA shines, even more so than the PS4 or Xbox One, because like you mentioned earlier, Graham, you talked about Jeremy playing XBMC. The XBMC app is, I have to say, it is one of the greatest apps that I've used in any time that I've had any sort of like video game system or anything like that. For my family, for those that don't know, XBMC, it's basically a media center app, but you can install all these different video add-ons that allow you to essentially have like they're Netflix style add-ons that you can stream like video. There's like tons of different channels that you can get. Like anything you can think of, there's a channel and an app for these. Like Game Trailers has one, ESPN, any of these channels like you see, there's tons of them, but there's also lots of like TV and movie channels that you can get and watch, like, you know, up-to-date TV shows or up-to-date movies. You can watch those on there. And that's what really XBMC is about. Like, you go to xbmchub.com, you can learn all about it. There's all these great tutorials out there how to download it and install this this channel and this app and really like tune it to where you need it to be to make it an incredible experience. And for us, like we don't need cable anymore because we have XBMC and it has all of our TV shows and movies and anything else that we want right there. Like I'm able to keep, like there's even like an angry video game nerd channel on there, like so I can watch like all the angry video game nerd videos like right there within XBMC. There's just tons and tons of different channels within that. Like if you really like to watch like movies, TV, video content, it's all right there. In addition to XBMC, there's a few other really good apps that I'll go through more quickly. Plex is another one that allows you to stream multimedia from your PC right to your OUYA. That's something that they've had on the PS3 and Xbox 360 in the past. It's not nothing that's like revolutionary, but it's just really good if like you want to like download something and you know you don't want to watch it on your computer, you want to watch it in the comfort of your living room.
Plex is a really good app.
Plex, yeah, it's really good. One of the new ones, I haven't tried this yet, and I can't because I'm just not able to, and I'll tell you why, but there's a thing called Limelight. It's a new app, and what it essentially does, it allows you to use Steam's Big Picture mode on your OUYA. Now, the only thing with that, you have to have an NVIDIA video card right now. I'm hoping that they'll be able to change that and be able to add the AMD cards. Right now, I have an AMD card in my system, so I can't use it, but for people with NVIDIA cards, you're able to access your entire Steam library from your OUYA, and you don't need a Steam box. You just need the Limelight app. And you're able to install that, you're able to get that, and you can play your Steam games right there on your OUYA, and it's just streaming it right there for you. More recently, there was an official YouTube app that came onto the OUYA. That's something that even the PS4 doesn't have right now. It doesn't have it, but the OUYA does, and it works really, really well. I use it quite a bit, and it works really similarly to the PS3 YouTube app. So if you're familiar with that one, you'll be right at home right there. It works almost exactly like the PS3 app. Works really, really well. And to round out some of the apps, there's Crunchyroll, which I absolutely love. I love watching anime. I watch Hero Bank weekly. Kopke knows, like we talk about it all the time. I love Hero Bank.
Still need to watch that.
And it's so good.
It's good. It actually, it beats Pokemon and those and Digimon and those kind of shows because it's really different from those. Like it's not the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And it's actually good for that.
It's I love the relationship development that they build within Hero Bank, and that you don't necessarily see that in like a Pokemon,
Yeah, okay. Like you got these two best friends that are becoming also enemies, but you also see a good reason why they are becoming enemies. It's like really good show. I mean, they really nail it. And
Graham, I gave you my Crunchyroll information. You can go and log in and watch them all.
I can't I? Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. There's no reason why you should be behind. And lastly, in the apps thing, they have a Twitch app. So if you like to watch Twitch stuff, you can just chill in your living room and watch Twitch right there. So so we've gone over the games. Now we've gone over the apps. Now, one other main pillar within the OUYA that I think we definitely need to talk about, which you mentioned also, Graham, is the emulators. Now, I have never used a machine other than a PC that emulates games nearly as well as the OUYA. There's so many emulators out there. Now, there's like Atari 2800, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega 32X, Sega CD, Dreamcast, NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, MAME, TurboGrafx 16. So many, and there's more. ColecoVision. There's tons of different emulators that have been built to work with Android and been tuned to work specifically with the OUYA. And there's also this great app called Nostalgia that you can download, and basically it's like an all-encompassing app that takes all of the emulators that you have installed, and it like kind of combines them into this one app, and it will automatically download box art for you. So you can go through and scroll through your library, and instead of just like reading like just the names of
it's like an iTunes, but
it looks like you're scrolling through, like, say, like your Xbox 360 library. You know, you're scrolling through and you see box art and information and things like that, and does it automatically for you, which is really, really well done. The emulators, I mean, everything. Like I'll admit, like I have a ton of emulators on my my OUYA. You know, I have like a 32 gig thumb drive that I use, and you know, I'll go and play if there's an old, you know, obscure game that I want to play. I'll boot up my OUYA and play it. You know, you can look on my library or my shelf right here and know that I buy, you know, so I'll just quickly play a game. If I don't want to necessarily like pull down, say, General Chaos and want to plug in my my Genesis, I'll just go over to my OUYA and play it on there. You know, and so the emulator side of the OUYA, I think it's you can't, you know, you can't deny the fact that like the emulators are amazing and that run really well on that, and I think that is definitely a selling point. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that is a selling point either. It does emulation really, really well, and I think it's great. You know, because a lot of times these games that you want to play just aren't available elsewhere. You can't buy them. You know, you can buy the popular games on the 3DS eShop and, you know, PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. You can buy those games, but the games that maybe the main games that you want to play or the TurboGrafx 16 games that you want to play aren't available, and they're really expensive. They're outside of your you know, your budget. You can't go and buy these really expensive games. Well, you know what? You can still go and use the OUYA, and you can get that experience through the OUYA. So,
just out of curiosity, how well does it run Dreamcast games and stuff?
The Dreamcast game, so that one, it's called Rycast, is the emulator for that, and that's something that's in active development right now. I've toyed with it very little. I haven't been able to get it to run right now. Now I've heard some people it runs pretty well. There's some issues with it right now. Like I said, it's an emulator that's really early in development. We almost had those guys on the show a few months back, but we weren't able to get back with them and get them on. But
yeah, actually, two consoles that are really hard to emulate right now is Saturn and the Dreamcast, mostly because of the type of hardware this console uses. Actually, the Saturn is the hardest one to actually develop. If you try a current emulator right now, it doesn't run that well all the games, mostly because of the two-processor thing. But but the Naomi is actually hard to emulate, so we are still in the... Well, humanity is still in development for emulators on these two consoles.
Because getting Dreamcast emulators run on the PC is a bitch.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised if they can actually get that running on the OUYA, I'm sold. Basically, if they can get a Dreamcast emulator running really well, then... Well,
actually, the emulator that Chris said is actually one of the best ones out there, and it actually works really well for Android devices. It actually works better on Android devices than on PC, I can tell you that.
That's kind of surprising, considering Dreamcast was built on like Windows architecture. But
yeah, I'm gonna we're gonna like screen share this really quickly.
Okay.
Yeah,
so this is the.
But somehow the people that were developing this thing were actually developing it more for mobile than piece.
So we're watching. If you're watching the video show, you're seeing them a video of them boot up Rycast, and they're loading some emulators right now. So one of the things you have to get like the Dreamcast BIOS and things like that on here.
Yeah.
But there's tutorials on how to actually
kind of a pain.
Get that from your own, and you can. There's also some less legitimate ways that you can go and get it. But this is was it Crazy Taxi that they booted up? I didn't see. I forgot. We'll see here in a minute. But this is this is them booting up Rycast. It's this is version.
I think it's Resident Evil they're playing.
Oh, 0.R5. We'll just skip ahead really quickly, so we can actually see some.
Hey, Code Veronica! Woo!
Oh yeah.
Man, my favorite.
Imagine this is Resident Evil Code Veronica on the Sega Dreamcast running on the OUYA.
Wow.
So it
does look pretty good. Like, I don't know if it's because we're streaming a video that I'm watching and stuff, but it seems pretty good actually. Yeah,
yeah, it actually does it pretty well. I mean, it's hard for systems to emulate these two consoles. Actually, these two ones are the hardest ones to emulate. The Saturn is almost impossible to emulate it accurately, but the Dreamcast has like a lot of advance in that matter.
And so, I'll say, some final thoughts on the OUYA. It's a sub $100 device. You can get it.
That's actually the selling point for them.
Yeah, I mean, here recently it was on sale for like $65, which is just so insane for me. So the price, I mean, I think it's at a really good price point. It's less than $100. You're not spending a ton of money on it, and even if you're spending, $100 and all you get out of it is the emulation, I think just that alone is worth it. But there's honestly, if you just give it a chance and you really dig in and discover like what the OUYA can do, I think you'll be really impressed with everything that it has to offer outside of, it has the emulation, it has the XBMC, the multimedia stuff, and there are some really good games that are made specifically for the OUYA from these really talented indie developers. And if there's not people out there giving this system a chance and buying these games and just giving those games a chance, these indie developers aren't going to be able to continue to make games for the system. They're going to have to go elsewhere. So I just really implore people, just give it a chance. If you know a friend who has an OUYA, ask them about it. Go, try to go over their house, check it out, see what it can do. Because I think you will be impressed. There's a lot of negative, misinformation about the OUYA out there, and I think it's really hurt it. But you can see some little glitches in the video here, just some flickering and things like that. But I don't know, Graham. After everything I've said and kind of showed you today, does this do you feel any different about the OUYA? Do you think you might be willing to give it a try?
I like the idea of all the emulation. The Dreamcast emulation really interests me, and it seems to be running really well, which surprises me. So yeah, I would consider buying one now. Maybe I'm literally that's kind of a double-edged sword in a way. I think that's a really good. I think it's really cool that it can do this emulation really well and stuff. But it's kind of silly that you. The only reason I want to buy this system isn't really for like the actual OUYA made stuff. It's for these old games that
right. But the thing is, you haven't got in there and really seen like what it can do.
Well,
you
know that looks glitchy.
yeah. Just that radio looks really glitchy.
Yeah, but
this is the very first alpha release. What we're looking at right here. This is the very first release. It's not even like a 1.0 release right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you won't really know what the OUYA can do until you get in there and see what's available on the OUYA store. And I'll say this: there is some trash out there on the OUYA store, just like there is if you go on the Xbox Live like indie store
or
on the 360. There is a ton of bad indie stuff out there. You know what I mean? There's those kind of games out there for the OUYA. but you can also find some really, really fun and good games. Like all the featured games right there. You got The Cave. There's some good stuff out there.
Even Sonic 4.
What's that?
Even Sonic 4.
Yeah, they have Sonic 4.
Yeah, that's true.
But sadly, Sonic 4 doesn't run that well on OUYA.
Yeah, because it's the mobile version. Unfortunately, they didn't release the console version. But here's Marvel vs. Capcom.
Sweet.
It's a little glitchy too. Some of this, but they're gonna. I'm sure they're gonna.
Yeah, but to be fair, like it's really hard to emulate Naomi and Dreamcast and Saturn. So
it's just amazing that there is a device out there that can emulate all these things.
Yeah,
and it's cool. This tiny little box that can sit under your TV, and what's even better, you can pair all your favorite controllers. You can pair them with your OUYA as well. If you want to use like the Xbox 360, PS3, the DualShock 3, yeah, you can pair them with your OUYA. You don't have to use the OUYA controller.
Oh, good, because the OUYA controller looks crappy.
It's not. Yeah, I would not compare it with Xbox 360, PS3, any of those controllers. It doesn't compare to those. Those are definitely better controllers. But if you want, you can use your other controllers with them. So, yeah,
cool.
I hopefully we cleared a few misconceptions about the OUYA in our future discussion, hopefully, like I said, I think now is a good time as any to get the OUYA. I think now it's really coming to its own. I think it has enough compelling games on its store to make it worthwhile for the purchase. It has so many different apps and emulators to really round out the whole experience. For $100, you can definitely do a lot worse.
Price is really the selling point for OUYA.
Yeah.
And I actually think that it isn't a console for competing to the bigger ones. It is actually a console with a cheaper price to give cheap gaming to people, and that's a really good thing. Mm-hmm. I think there was a huge misconception with that, and people have been really unfair. Also, the press has been unfair with it.
Yeah.
And well, actually, the peer management from OUYA didn't help a lot. That's to say also, but I think the console has a great potential for making cheap games accessible to more people, and that's a good thing.
Awesome. All right, that's going to finish up our feature discussion. Now we're going to get into what we've been playing. And Graham, how about you start us off with that?
Cool. Wow. All I've been playing is Uncharted: Drake's Fortune, the original one. I wanted to get Chris's opinion, but he just walked off again. Damn him! Damn it, Chris! Man. What can I say about it? I finished playing it. I actually completed the game. I did that, and it was just over. Yeah, it was a week because I talked about it last week on the show that I just started playing it. So I finished it last week. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed it quite a lot, but I think I mentioned it last week. It does feel dated already. I know it's one of the earlier PlayStation 3 games. So it is a few years old now. That's expected, but there were moments in that game where the controls felt so twitchy. And I know it's not my controller because it's a brand new controller, even though the PlayStation second-hand, I got a brand new controller. There was just a few moments that got really frustrating that you'd have to do some tricky platforming bits, and he wouldn't jump, or he'd jump in an awkward way and wouldn't grab a ledge properly and stuff, because generally it was fine, but there was just a couple of bits where I was just getting so frustrated because I knew exactly where to go and what to do, and every time I got to the certain bit I needed to go, it just wouldn't work. I also have you played Uncharted, Kopke?
Yeah.
You have? Okay. Chris is back. Excellent. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was.
Yeah, Uncharted is like playing a movie, an action movie.
Yeah. The one it's going to sound kind of silly. I liked the general storyline of the game and stuff. However, I got kind of annoyed with the sort of vampire demon type things. I didn't mind that being in the story as such, but it's just that when there's one of the levels where you're sort of underground, and every time you go into a room, they sort of just come out and start attacking you, and it's just wave after wave of these sort of zombie things you have to fight off, and it's just kind of getting tiring because they're quite hard to defeat, which is fine, but it's also meant you're running out of ammo really quickly and stuff, and it it almost felt unnecessary. They could have had the zombies in it, the vampire things, whatever they were, without the way they did it, if that makes any sense. But generally, really enjoyed the game. I've literally just started playing Uncharted 2. Put in like the first sort of 15 minutes of the game, which is like the opening sort of segments, really. And already, Uncharted 2 looks a lot better than Uncharted 1. Like the graphics, you can tell they'd really stepped up their game. Like the opening scene, you're on like a train. There's a train that's been crashed. You don't really know what's happened. You're sort of woken up on this wrecked train. You got to climb up this train. And you're on this like mountainside, and there's snow everywhere. And the snow looks fantastic, I have to admit. It doesn't look like snow in other games I've seen. Like it looks more natural in the way you walk through and stuff. So literally just started Uncharted 2, but Uncharted 1, great game. I don't think I'm as obsessed with it as a lot of people were when it first came out, but I guess I played it later. And I have to, just a side note, I think it's very comparable to the Tomb Raider games, but I still prefer the Tomb Raider games. I think they're a bit more playable. They seem less twitchy and stuff. But there you go. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, woo!
Nice. Kopke, you want to go next?
Yeah, I've been playing, thanks to Chris, Virtua Fighter 2 on a Saturn for the first time at my home, not in anybody else's home. So, I've been really happy with this. It's a game that I have experienced before because, like I said, I went to a friend's house and she always had the Saturn games. Virtua Fighter is what at she was best. So I was never able to beat her. She always beat me in that game, and everybody else. Like she was queen of the neighborhood regarding to Virtua Fighter 2. But I was really happy to being able to experience this game again. And thank you, Chris.
Anytime, buddy.
Really, Virtua Fighter 2, which is a game that I really love because it's about football, so that's a good thing. It's a really sport that I love, and I really enjoyed this game, mostly because it has most of the key players that were available at that time, and it actually, SEGA was one of the first companies that actually made the players look alike to their real counterparts in a game. Like FIFA did it way after this, and this one has a lot of Mexican, Colombian, Italian, and Brazilian players that are really famous, and we really enjoy that. And I mean, watching our main goalie on this game is really amazing. Like watching him with his really weird outfit. It's a goalie that's called Jorge Campos, and that guy is actually wearing always like fluorescent outfits as a goalie, and he's really weird. He's actually in this game as he is, so it's really amazing. Virtua Striker. I love this game.
Sweet.
And the other one is Marvel vs. Capcom on the Dreamcast, which is a game that I really do enjoy, and that's what I've been playing these days. And I'm really thankful to be actually available to play Virtua Fighter 2 on a real Saturn, and that's at my home. So that kind of made my gear, actually. So I'm really happy with it. There it is. That's what I've been playing.
Sweet.
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about the OUYA game that I've been playing this week. We're going to talk a little bit some more OUYA for a little bit. Broken Age, which is the Double Fine game that we talked a little bit
nice
earlier.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really, really fun, and you don't have to just play on the OUYA. You can play it on your PC, but it's an episodic, point-and-click adventure game. It's broken up into two completely separate, at least in the beginning, storylines. There's a boy. Let me see. I have some notes here. Let me see. Named Shay. He lives on a spaceship. He's like traveling through outer space, and he lives completely alone. He's the only human on the ship. But the ship's computer acts as his like surrogate mother and father, and they're very overprotective, and they like don't let him do anything that could possibly hurt himself or anything like that. So they set up all of these like heroic type events for him to go and like save the day, and he goes like travels to these like little planets, and there's like these like little cute creatures that need help being saved. And say like for instance, there's this one where he goes and there's these creatures that have that are in danger of dying from an avalanche. But when he gets there, it's like almost like a Candyland style world where the people they're stuck in an avalanche of ice cream, and he just has to use a spoon like eat them out of the ice cream. I shouldn't say he's eating them out. He's eating the ice cream and removing them from the ice cream avalanche. That sounded a little weird. But anyway, so it goes on, and he's really bored with his life, and he wants some excitement. He wants to do something that's not predetermined, and he needs this, and so that whole thing is like finally coming into being. He's kind of seeing that. There's some stuff that unravels. I don't want to spoil too much of the storyline there. On the other side, and what's neat is you can, at any moment in the game, like say you're playing Shay's Quest, you can go down into the menu and switch to the other storyline and follow that storyline and start working that. So it's almost like a completely separate game. And this one, it follows a young girl named Vela, and she lives in a village that's about to be attacked by a giant monster called a Mog. I don't think it's a Mog from the Final Fantasy settings. But so what they do in this world, though, when this monster comes and attacks, they nominate. The village nominates several girls, and they go up and are essentially sacrificed and eaten by the giant monster to appease it so that it won't destroy the rest of the world. Now, this village used to be a village of warriors, and they used to fight against these Mogs. And throughout the years, they've become a lot more docile, and they don't fight anymore, and they just offer up these young girls for sacrifice. So she doesn't want to die. She doesn't want to do this, and she's asking all these questions like, why aren't we fighting back? Why do I have to go and be sacrificed? And there's like these really kind of deep questions that are being brought up, in her storyline. And it's neat though, because you'll as you play through each storyline, you hear like little tidbits from the other side of the storyline. Like Shay gets there's a story that his computer mom tells him of a long time ago. This girl who had to be sacrificed. She faced this big decision to save her town, and it's obviously kind of calling back to Vela's storyline. So it's intertwined in some way. I haven't beaten the first episode just yet, but it's a lot of fun. I really suggest, like, even if you don't own an OUYA, find you probably have some sort of a platform, whether it's a PC or a Mac or something, that will play it. It's $15. It is available on Steam, so go and just try this game out, because it is a lot of fun. I'm a big point-and-click adventure fan. Absolutely love those games. And Double Fine, it has the Double Fine humor, the style, the visual style, all that's there. If you like Double Fine, you will not be disappointed. I really have enjoyed
Double Fine's really... Those guys are really good at making these adventure games, and the stories are always good, and humor is always good. I really enjoyed The Cave, which was one of the last ones they did on this matter. So it's a really great game, and actually this game took a lot more time than The Cave, and actually has a lot more to offer. So it's really great. I played it on PC. I really loved it.
Awesome. I'm glad you played it. It's good. Have you beat the first episode yet at all?
Yeah, but I can't remember that much. I actually played it once they released, because I found that on the Kickstarter.
Oh, cool. I think they said that the people who funded the game get the second episode like a lot sooner than me, who I didn't fund the game.
Yes. Yes. So. Actually, they will get every episode before everyone else.
That's pretty cool. Graham, have you returned yet?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Oh, yes, he's there.
All right. Parting shots. Do we have any parting shots before we?
Yes, we have.
I sort of do. It's something I forgot to mention at the very start of the show. That literally, as the show was starting, I was finishing up watching a movie that I think Steve, our beloved Stevie Bear, who hasn't been on the show for a while, he would have really enjoyed. It's just to give a brief overview of the movie. It was like basically scientists, they've created a way to bring back dinosaurs, and like they're showing off their technology and the dinosaurs and stuff, and then the dinosaurs get free and cause havoc and kill lots of people and stuff. So yeah, I know Steve's a big fan of this sort of genre, but imagine what would you think the movie is I was watching?
Man,
What could it be? What could that movie be?
I don't know.
Dinosaurs on the loose. Yes, you're right. It's Age of Dinosaurs. Yeah.
We never would have guessed that.
13 movie.
No, never.
Yeah, it's really terrible. It's a terrible movie. I just really wish Steve was here because I could have like teased him a little bit with it because he loves Jurassic Park and stuff. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, so definitely check that movie out because it's really bad in every way. I can't. There's one. Okay, sorry. I wasn't going to say much about it, but there's a bit where this dinosaur, for no reason, is chasing two of the main people through Los Angeles, and like pretty much avoiding every other person, just chasing these two people for no reason. And there's a bit where it's like one of their mates from early on in the movie is on the back of a police motorcycle. He's like stolen basically, and like their car they're in a car and they run out of petrol or gas, whatever you say in America, and they get out of their car and then this guy rocks up on the motorbike and goes, yeah, don't worry, I'll save you, and this basically rides into the dinosaur and the dinosaur eats him straight away, and they're like run away, yeah, and it's like, what the hell was that? It's just like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. Age of Dinosaurs, whatever it's called. Yeah,
now I will.
Yeah, please do.
Definitely.
Man,
Kopke, do you have any parting shots?
Yes. First one, I'm working on Virtua Striker 2 introspective, like showing what soccer is about and showing with this game. And the other one is that you guys can get my products on the Redbubble store.
Woo!
Nice. This one. Can you see that one?
Oh yeah.
She likes to hold big guns.
Yeah. So you guys can get them. It's Redbubble / people / Kopke, so you can get.
Ooh, have we lost Kopke?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost Kopke.
Oh man.
Oh,
Redbubble.com / people / Kopke is where you go. And
like that.
Oh, he's back. Oh.
He's gone. Kopke?
Oh, Kopke?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello? Just my computer's.
Oh, okay. Okay. Really quickly, I forgot to show a couple of my pickups this week. I got Sonic Adventure 2.
Ooh.
On the Dreamcast. Really excited about that. Got it for about $20 shipped or something around there, which really is a pretty decent price for Sonic Adventure 2 because it's.
Oh, I would really like to hear your thoughts on the game once you've.
Yeah, it's one of the expensive games.
Yeah, I will. I definitely plan on playing that. You know, I really want to start a new YouTube like Let's Play series called like Let's Discover Sega, and the idea would be just I'm playing Sega games that I never really got to play before, and that's be like me discovering these Sega games. And Sonic Adventure 2 was one of those games I never got to get because when I had my Dreamcast, it was always a little bit too expensive for my budget. Like I was never able just to get the game. I had Sonic Adventure, the original one, played it, beat it like multiple times. But I had it digitally on the PS3, but I never had the actual Dreamcast version of it. Also, I wanted to show really quickly my Godzilla collection that I bought.
I want to tell an anecdote regarding Sonic Adventure 2. The thing is that I was able to beat all A rank and S levels, and I was able to unlock the Green Hill Zone. So a friend of mine came by and said, could you just lend me your Dreamcast a couple of days so I can play that game? And I was like, okay, I'm not that confident to you, but you're like lending me too much stuff these days, so I will lend it to you a couple of days. And when he returned that Dreamcast, that bastard erased my file.
No!
Many hours were to able to unlock that. I mean, it was like so many pages. I stopped talking to that guy. Since
that sucks.
I really got mad at him like way too much.
I wanted to show you my Godzilla collection DVD that I bought. I talked about a little bit ago. my son and I, we've been watching a lot of these. We finished the first volume, which is like the first 3 Godzilla movies. So next up we have Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. That's going to be the next one we watch. So I'm really excited about that. Really loving these old Godzilla movies.
Ghidorah is one of the main enemies of Godzilla, so it's huge.
We watched Godzilla Mothra versus Godzilla, and I have to say that was such a sad movie because I've always had a fondness for Mothra, and it was just so sad because Mothra was just such a good character, and to see like Godzilla being an asshole to Mothra was. The early movies, Godzilla was a total dickhead.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, that was not cool, Godzilla. Bastard. So anyway, I think it's going to wrap up the show this week. Some really cool or quick site stuff. Be sure and check out all of the great features that we have coming up this week. I think Jason has one of his SEGA Racers series coming up this week. We have some other stuff. On Friday, we have an interview on the podcast with the guys from Relic. They're going to be on the show. So the Relic community managers, some producers are going to be on the show talking about Company Heroes. We'll also talk about a little bit of the Relic history as well. And Graham, you probably haven't started on it yet, but you have the Relic retrospective that you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So make sure we get that done on time.
Yeah.
Also, be sure just to go follow us on Facebook and like us on Twitter, which was the complete opposite of what it should have been. Facebook is facebook.com/thesega-nerds. YouTube also is youtube.com/user/sega-nerds. And Twitter, it's @SEGA-NERDS. So,
awesome.
Reviews. We need reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, Windows Store. If Graham will ever get the podcast on the Windows Store.
I don't understand how to.
Oh, God, you're terrible. So, all right, that is going to do it for the SEGA Nerdcast episode 53. It's in the books. We can only have one SEGA Nerdcast 53, and that was it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully we'll try not to do too much more e-stalking next week. But
that
was a little weird. We apologize.
I've got a Katie something. What's her name?
I don't want to say her name because I know it, but that's just going to make me seem more creeper if I just.
And actually, Graham is gonna go stalk her.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna stalk Handsome Biff now because he's awesome. Except for his buttons and that guy.
Sega Biff.
Sega Biff. Sega Biff.
I love it. All right, that's going to do it for us. We will see you. Actually, we'll see you Friday when we have the guys from Relic on. All right.
Woo!
Take it easy. We are out.
Later, pals.